Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about calculation of load. So let us consider a building and then try to find out how to calculate the load for different element of the building. Suppose for beam, for column, how to calculate the load for a building we will discuss in this class. So let us consider this particular problem. So here suppose this is the building frame. This is the plane of the building. Here you can see total 60 numbers of columns are there. The spacing of the column are mentioned. Suppose this is A, B, C and D. The difference between the grid line A and B is 3.5 meter, when the difference between the grid line between B and C is 4 meter. C and D is 4.5 meter. In the same way, the grid distance between the grid line 1 and 2 is 2.5, 2 and 3 is 3 meter, and 3 and 4 is 3.5 meter. Now, for this plane which is AG plus 2 building, we have to calculate the load that is coming to this beam as well as the columns. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So first of all, let's look at the elevation of the building. This is the elevation from this side. When you are looking at the structure from this side, you will see only this four columns having 3.5, 3 and 2.5 meter of span. And when you will see the struct frame from this side, then you will get the spans as 3.5, 4 and 4.5 meters, right? So let's see that these are the plans. So here these are the footings. This is the tie beam, this is the first floor, and this is the roof floor beam. Okay, this is the first floor beam, this is the roof floor beam. So and this is the ground floor, remember this. Okay, so this is the ground floor, this is the ground floor, and this is the first floor, this is the first floor. So here remember these two figures and visualize everything that can be there in this particular building plane. First of all, just try to visualize how this structure will look like. You have the plan. So if you remember the civil engineering drawing, we have the plan. Now if you remember the civil engineering drawing, now you can imagine how the building will look like. And we are assuming that in the first floor and the ground floor all the beams are infilled with brick wall, infilled with brick wall. So and at the top, at the roof, we have a parapet wall. So suppose this is the building, suppose this is the roof, then we have the first floor over here, then we have the ground floor. Okay, so we have two columns, total numbers of four columns in this side as well as four columns in that side. Okay, something like this. And we have a parapet wall. Parapet walls are provided so that for safety purpose. So suppose this parapet wall height is 1 meter and the height of its floor is 3 meter. Okay, its floor is 3 meter. So this is the tie beam over here, this is the ground floor, this is the first floor, this is the roof beam. This beam, if you're looking at this beam, this is the roof beam, this is the roof beam, this is the first floor beam, and this is, you can say, tie beam or ground floor beam. Okay, these nomenclatures we are going to use in our calculation. So remember this figure, visualize this particular building, so that because the visualization will be required while calculating the loads that is coming to our structure. Okay, now let's see how to calculate. So first of all, you need to find out what is the live load. So as in the question, the load is not given to you. So in that case, as the building is said to be a residential building, in this kind of building, as per IS 875, these are the codes for, there are 5 parts are there. So in these 5 parts, you can find out how to how to calculate the load. So if you refer this particular code, you can find out for residential building, the range is between 2 to 2.5 of live load you can assume for residential building, 2 to 2.5 kilonewton per meter square. So suppose we have considered here the live load as 2 kilonewton per meter square. So this is the live load that we have assumed. And suppose thickness of the slab that we have assumed is 200 mm. Beam sizes are given, like B is equal to 300 mm, D is equal to 350, as well as column sizes are also given. BC as 350 mm and DC as 350 mm and floor height 3 meters. Okay, all these informations will be given, or you can assume. Suppose we are assuming for this particular problem. So if the load is not given for residential building, you can assume it as 2.5 or 2 to 2.5 kilonewton per meter square. And these are the values most probably will be given in the problem, or else you can assume it. Now let's dig into our calculation part. First of all, the thing is, we have the slab which is being first supported by the beam, and then beams are supported by the columns. And the load distribution is something like, the load will first come to the slab, then slab will transfer the load to the beams, and beams will load transfer to the column, and column will eventually transfer the load to the footing. Okay, so this is the chronology that the load flow pattern maintain while transferring the load. So first the load will come to the slab, then slab will transfer this load to the beams, beams will transfer the load to the column, and column will transfer to the load to the footing, and eventually the footing will transfer the load to the ground. Okay, so remember this thing. So that is why, first of all, let's try to find out what is the load that is coming to the slab. We have already found out that the live load is we have considered as 2 kilonewton per meter square area of the slab. Now also, along with the live load, we have the dead load of the slab. The slab has its own self weight, right? Own self weight. So you have to consider that particular self weight. So for calculation of the self weight, the unit we are looking at is kilonewton per meter square. We are trying to find out in terms of this particular unit, kilonewton per meter square. So what is the self weight of, what is the unit weight of concrete? So this is assumed to be 25 kilonewton per meter cube. This is the unit weight of concrete, and which can be found out in the clause 19.2.1 of IS 456. In this particular clause says the dead loads may be calculated on the basis of unit weights of materials given in IS 875. But if for more accurate calculations are not available, you can assume it. For plain concrete, for PCC it is 24, and for RCC it is 25. So as all our structures are mainly RCC, that is why the unit weight of RCC we are assuming in that as 25 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, with this, if we multiply the thickness of the slab, it will give you the dead load per unit area of the slab, which comes out to be 5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, and live load you already know, that is 2 kilonewton per meter square, right? So if you add these two, you will get 5 plus 2, that is 7 kilonewton per meter square. This is the total load that is acting over the slab. Now the second thing is, you know that while constructing, slabs are monolithically casted with the beam. If you see a real building, the slabs are monolithically casted with the beam, right? So in that case, how to distribute the load that is coming to the slab to the beam? Because the slab has 4 beams attached to it. In ideal case, it will be having 4 beam at all the 4 sides. How to distribute this particular load? So this problem can is so this question is addressed by the code in the clause 24.5. It says the loads on the beam supporting solid slab spanning in two directions at right angles and supporting uniformly distributed loads may be assumed to be according to the figure 7. So this is the figure 7. It says that if it is 90-degree, angles are 90-degree, and all the 4 sides are solid, are fixed, and this is solid slab and the load is uniform. In that case, this kind of distribution can be assumed, where we can divide this whole area into this kind of parts having certain divisions, and this line is making an angle 45-degree with the sides. Okay, so this kind of distribution you have to make, and whatever load that is coming, suppose over this area which is hatch portion, over this area, this load will come to the beam, this beam. Okay, it's written the load in the shaded area to be carried by the beam B. Okay, whatever load will come within this area, this will come to this particular beam, and in this triangular area, whatever load will be there, that will come to this particular beam. Okay, so this kind of distribution we have to follow. So now let's go to our problem. We have the plan here. So here we have the plan. So let's first draw the distribution diagram, or the how the slab will distribute the load. So for this, you just need to draw the lines at the 45-degree angle, because all the slabs are supported by all the 4 sides and only uniform loading is there, right? So we can divide the whole slab into this 4 sections, making an angle 45-degree with the sides. So this kind of sections we will get. Now for this portion, whatever load in this particular triangle area will be transferred to this beam, and whatever load is within this triangle, within this trapezoid, will be transferred to this particular beam. Whatever load is in this triangle will be transferred to this beam, right? So for this problem, suppose we will consider this particular beam. Okay, this beam is denoted by what? A1, B1. Okay, and remember our building is G plus 2, sorry, G plus 1, right? G plus 1, this is the ground floor, this is the first floor. So we have roof over here, we have first floor, and we have the ground floor. So we have 3 beams, 1, 2 and 3. 3 beams are there, 3 sets of beams at different levels, right? At the roof level, 1 set of beam, and at the first floor level, second set of beam, and at the ground floor, the last set of beams are we have. So we have to calculate all the loads, and all the beams are represented by this notation: A1 B1, A1 B1, A1 B1 at the roof. This will represent at the roof. A1 B1. If I say first floor, it will represent this particular beam. Okay, and if I say A1 B1 ground, then that will represent this particular beam. Okay, this particular beam it will represent. Now we will calculate whatever load that is coming to these beams at the roof, at the first floor as well as at the ground floor. So we will consider only this particular beam. Okay. So if you see this particular beam A1 B1, you will see that this is A1, this is B1, and only a trapezoid is there. This trapezoid. Right. Let me draw it clearly. So only a trapezoid is there. So this distance is 3.5 meter, right? And this height is half of 2.5 meter. Half of 2.5 is 1.25, right? And this distance is how much? This will be 3.5 minus 1.25 minus 1.5. So it will be 1 meter. You use this knowledge of geometry and you can find out the dimension of the trapezoid. So now what will be the area of the trapezoid? The area of the trapezoid is half into summation of the parallel sides, that is 1 plus 3.5, into the height, that is 1.25. This is the area of the trapezoid, right? So this calculation will be needed. Okay. Now let's see in the next page. Yeah. Now the area of the trapezoid is given by 0.5 plus whole into, there is half into 3.5 plus 1, because this is 3.5, this is 1. So summation of parallel sides plus height is 1.25. So it is, area is given by this one. And what will be the load from the slab? The load from the slab means that is coming to the beam is given by the area into the total load. Area is 2.83, right? 2.813. This is the area into total load. Total load was 7, right? So this much of load is coming to this particular beam, right? So but the thing is, uh, this load, uh, in case of beam, whenever we will be calculating, we need the load in kilonewton per meter. But if I multiply the 7, whose unit is kilonewton per meter square, with the area which is all in meter square, then the unit becomes in kilonewton. The load becomes in kilonewton. So if you multiply the area with the 7 kilonewton per meter square, it becomes the load. You will find out the load in the unit of kilonewton. But we need the load in per unit length, because this beam, right? This whole load will be, we can convert it to an UDL, equivalent UDL. Though it's not an exactly equivalent, exact and UDL force, but we can find out for simplicity to a, we can convert it to equivalent UDL. And what is the equivalent UDL will be? Total load, that is you will find out by multiplying the area with the total load, whatever load you are getting, divided by the length of the beam. Okay, so that is what I have done. A of the trapezoid, that is the area of the trapezoid, into the total load divided by the length of the beam, which is come out to be 5.625 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so this is the load that is coming from the slab. So that is why it is written as W slab roof. And see here, I have written it at roof level, because we are calculating at the roof level. Remember, we are calculating only at the roof level. Just remember and assume how the building will look like. Just imagine the building, this beam we are considering. But along with that roof, the load that is coming from the slab, roof slab, there will be also one parapet wall, because this beam is at the edge. So the parapet wall actually runs along the edge. So there will be a small parapet wall of 1 meter height over this beam. So that load is also going to come at this particular beam. So we have to consider that one also. So assuming a parapet wall of 1 meter height and also considering the self weight. So the weight of the parapet wall, so generally unit weight sorry, unit weight of wall is considered as 20 kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, so and the thickness of wall is generally taken as 0.125 meter. This is the thickness of a wall. So if you want to find out what is the weight that is coming to the beam from the parapet wall, which has a height of 1 meter, you multiply the unit weight with the height is 1 meter, into the thickness. It will give you the load per unit meter. Okay, 2.5 kilonewton per meter. So this is the load that is coming from the parapet wall over the beam. Again, along with that, the beam itself has a self weight, right? So all these three load will going to come. What are the three loads? One is slab. So over the beam A1 B1 at the roof level will be having load from the slab, then load from the parapet wall and its self weight. So these three things are going to act. So the total weight on the beam, which is the roof, is equal to, you just add all these three. This is the self weight of the beam, this is the from the parapet, this is the from the slab. So it will become 10.75 kilonewton per meter. Now similarly, if you consider the first floor, in first floor you see, so suppose, so we have the parapet wall over here. So in the first floor we have a wall height of 3 meter, right? And in this problem it is not mentioned that the slab are not identical, so we are assuming that all the levels are identical. So there will be no changes with, according to, there is no changes in our weight of the slab, but there will be changes in the weight of the wall. So initially it was 1 meter because we have only parapet wall, but here we have the a wall of 3 meter height. So the load due to wall will be 20 kilonewton per meter cube into 3 meter height into 0.125 meter of thickness. So it becomes 7.5 kilonewton per meter. So this load of the wall is also going to come out the beam. Okay, and along with that, self weight is also going to be there. So for the beam in the first floor, the load of the slab is going to come, as well as the wall, as well as self weight, so which are in turn will give you 15.75. Okay, so as well, similarly we can find out for the ground floor. Now for the ground floor, if you look it very closely, in case of our structure, in case of our buildings, if you see that the first floor, actually the load is transferred to beam, the slab load is transferred to beam. But in case of ground floor, actually most of the cases, in most of the times, the load of the slab, load of the floor is transferred directly to the ground, because in ground floor we do not construct actually the slab, we just lay some bricks or stones, and then over that we just cast the concrete or PCC. There is no RCC because the load it directly raised over the soil. So whatever load is coming to the ground floor is directly going to the soil. So this load is not going to transfer to the beam. So there will be no load for the from the slab. Okay, as there is no slab, is that all the load is going to going directly to the soil. So the slab load becomes zero for the ground floor, and but it is not the all, it is not the case for all the structures. In certain cases there might be special provision where the load gets transferred to the beam. So it will depend upon the type of the structure. Then there will be obviously the load due to the wall is also is going to come, because wall is directly resting over the beam. So obviously beam has to take that particular load. So the load due to load at the beam at the ground is going to be W slab, which is 0, then wall, then self weight, which is come out to be 10.125 kilonewton per meter. So this is how you can calculate the load at the beams. Now, how to calculate the load in the columns? So for that, just like how the load is being transferred from slab to beam, the similarly some different approaches are adopted for transferring the load from slab to a column. In this case, while considering the column, what we do, we take the half of its beam, half of its sections. Okay, suppose we are considering this particular column. In this case, what you will do, you just take half of all the sections. Okay, suppose this is 3.5, you take half, you just draw a line which becomes, this is 3.5 by 2, you take a half over here, this is 4 by 2, then you draw the half line over here, 1.250, and here also divided by 3 divided by 2, that is 1.5 meter. So like this, you just divide all the sections into half, and then whatever area that you will get, this will transfer the load to this particular column. Okay, and whatever area you will get here, so this load will be transferred to this column. Then if you see this area, area will transfer the load to this column, then this area will transfer to this column. Okay, so how to do that? You just take half of all the sections, and then you enclose the areas surrounding the column. Okay, surrounding column we enclose, and then this particular area will transfer the load to the column which is inside. Okay, this is how we transfer the load from slab to column. Now, so for this problem, suppose we are considering this B2 column. So here also we are considering the roof, the first floor. So here first let's see B2 column. So what is the contributory area? It becomes 3.5 by 2 plus 4 by 2. You see over here. This is the contributory area, right? So what is the dimension of this area? This is 3.5 by 2, and this is 4 by 2, this is 2.5 by 2, and this is 3 by 2. This is the dimension. So if you want to find out the area, is 3.5 by 2 plus 4.5 by 2 whole into 2.5 by 2 plus 3 by 2. So this will give you the area. As well as you remember that whatever is there within this area, all the load is going to come to this particular column. So if you are considering the roof, in case of roof there will be no wall over here, right? So wall load is not going to come, but slab load will be there. And also the beam also there, because beams are there, right? The beam load is also going to come. When you are considering the first floor, in first floor, see, so suppose this is the case, something like this. Let me draw it clearly. So these are the beams, suppose this is the ground floor, then this is the first floor. Okay, so we have this contributory area. Okay, so whatever is there within this area, everything is going to come to this particular column. That is beam load, slab load, and if there is wall load, everything is going to come to this column. And what about this column? This column is going to take everything that is coming to this column plus the load that is coming over this particular slab, the pink one. Okay, so while we will be considering the roof, so what are the loads that we have to consider? Wall load is not there, slab and the self weight, of the beam, self weight of the beam. So the roof slab, the contributed area in the total load, that is 72.118. Then the self weight of the beam. So in self weight of the beam, you need to find out what is the length of the beam. You can see the beam is something like this. This is the length of the beam, total length of the beam, which is in turn is 3.5 by 2 plus 4 by 2 plus 2.5 by 2 plus 3 by 2. That is the total length of the beam. So this part, the total, add this all this four part, it will get the total length of the beam into dimension of the beam into self weight of the concrete. That will give you the load that is coming from the beam. So total load the column becomes, you add these two, it will get the total load in the column. Then for the second one, you can see that the load from the slab, that is 80 contributed area and the total load from the beam, this one, from the column, that is this column is supporting the column over it, right? The first load column will support the column over it. So this, but that particular column has a self weight, so that particular self weight you have to consider, as well as wall is there. In this case, in the first floor you have the wall now, because in the roof you do not have walls, but in the first floor, just like this, in the first floor we will be having walls, right? Over here we will be having walls. The roof we do not have walls, but at the first floor we have walls. So this wall load you have to consider. So this wall load you have to consider. So its length will be as equal to the length of the beam, then thickness and the height and the self weight. You will get this particular load. So if you add all this, you will get the load that is coming to the column. This is how you have to do the calculations. Thank you.